What's happening? What's happening? Still a nation, still a family. What is popping? What's happening? What's good? Hope everybody is good, man, and I hope you are ready for another great episode, I like to say. Another great episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, live from the Still Basement. What's happening, good people? What are we doing? What are we doing tonight? How we doing? How has your early start to the week been? You know, the last time we talked was on Sunday for most of you. Welcome to the newcomers. Thank you in advance for any Wonder Bread. I always want to say that because sometimes I miss some. I try not to. So thank you in advance for that. Thank you for you guys who, you know, provide Wonder Bread outside of YouTube. You know who you are, so thank you for that. And let's get to it. Let's get to it, man. Let's get right to it. The lines are open, guys. The Discord line will be open. Let me grab the link really quick. Where is it? I'm going to grab the link for anybody who shall and wants to come on to the show. I will post that in the chat in due time. But what's going on, man? I hope everybody is well. Let's say hello to our early commenters. Let's do that. Let's get that part of the show taken care of. My good buddy, Mark Cunningham is in the building. My man, Brent Fox in the building. My guy, CT Pittman in the building. Hello, the lovely Lanisha is in the building, fellas. Y'all know the routine. Say hello to our lovely ladies of Still a Nation. Treat them with care and roll out that red carpet. Y'all already know what to do. Shouldn't even have to say it. Ollie Howard is in the building. Steeler Cards is in the building. Jay Webb is in the building. Vista Light is in the building. Alexis, hello, Alexis. Another one of our lovely Steeler Nation lady listeners. One of our lovely ladies, guys. Y'all know the routine. Y'all take care of them. Hello. Hope you're doing well. Who else is in the building? Who we got? Is it D-Shane Oaks? D-Shane Oaks? He said, what's up, Sim? AKA Wonder Bread, man. That's what's up, man. What's going on with you? Shout outs to Jay Webb. Appreciate that. He says Terrible Towel Tuesday. Yep, we in the building. We in the building, guys and gals. My good brother Kenyon, of course, in the building. All right, guys, let's get to it. I got a lot to say. Today, man. A lot more than I expected. So I'm going to get to it quick. Get through it. First thing we want to talk about is some of the things, man, that we heard in the Mike Tomlin presser. Let's get right to the injuries, guys. And, you know, some of you guys will care or not care about some of these players, but it's always key to know who's dealing with injury, has injury, returning from injury, limited with injury, who's already classified as out, et cetera, et cetera. So the only person that Mike Tomlin said would be considered out, automatically out, he talked about Calvin Anderson. Calvin Anderson out. It's funny, man, because when I peeked at the inactive list right before the game started, right? I told you guys I was, you know, at my son's basketball game right when the game started. I peeked. I thought it said Calvin Austin. And then I was really confused that Roman Wilson was not active if Calvin Austin was down, but it wasn't. It was Calvin Anderson. Calvin Anderson, guys. So he's ruled out again already from what Tomlin said. Guys like Andrews Pete, Malik Harrison, and Darnell Washington are in the concussion protocol. Definitely don't want to hear that, you know, in terms of Malik Harrison, because, again, even if you listen to Tomlin's presser and if you just watch his style of play, Tomlin said Malik Harrison is that guy. He's basically the thumper. You know, he is your Elandon Roberts. He is your Vince Williams, right? That is his role. And, you know, I'd hate for him to be out again facing off against a Miami Dolphins team that has some runners. You know, A-Chain being one of the main guys. So you hate to see that. Hopefully some of the other guys like Holcomb and whoever else can keep their hand in the pile. and help us out. But Darnell Washington, to me, would be the bigger one. I can't say so much about Andrus Peat because, honestly, guys, I haven't really noticed how good or bad his play has been. I don't think it's been bad, but I think Dylan Cook came in and did a pretty solid job, right? So, again, I haven't gotten to the 22 at all. I watched 3 plays of it today, but, I haven't gotten to that to really diagnose who did what. I do know Aaron Rodgers stayed clean, but definitely keep an eye on that. Malik Harrison, Andrus Peat, as well as Darnell Washington, all in concussion protocol. With having the game on Monday, it does give us a little extra time. So we'll see. Benton was dealing with an ankle injury in game. He returned to the game. James Pierre was dealing with the calf injury. He returned to the game. Ben Skoranek and Y.A. Black. Tomlin classified those guys as bumps and bruises. So the way he kind of said it, he kind of put them in the same bucket as a Benton and a James Pierre. So you wouldn't expect these guys to not play. It's just may limit some of their participation early in the week, and then we'll see how things go down the week. And he also mentioned Kyle Duggar. Kyle Duggar has an opportunity to potentially return. I think he's dealing with a hand injury. We all know that Kyle Duggar was out in this last game. I definitely want to get Kyle Duggar back in the fold. And then here's another one, man, and the reporters asked about it. Tomlin didn't mention this in his own speech, but they asked about Derek Harmon, and he said, hey, they're going to allow participation to be the guide. Harmon was dealing with the knee, if I'm not mistaken. And Tomlin says that, he could be classified as a guy that has a chance to also participate. So that would be great, man. Listen, Y.A. Black has been playing well, but also Derek Harmon was playing well, man. I really want more of those two guys as a tandem. And it's good to see a guy like Y.A. Black coming on, because if I'm not mistaken, you guys correct me if I'm wrong. What round did he go in? Was it the 4th or 5th? Y.A. Black. Was it the 4th or 5th? I can't remember, but he was a later round guy. So it's beautiful to see. I think it was 5th. I could be wrong. But it's great to see a guy like that, man, with his big body and turning out to be somebody who's, it always reminds me of Dan McCullers. Excuse me. The reason why I say that is, remember how big Dan McCullers was, and some of you Steelers fans in here might not even know who that is. Now, you are the guys that I like to call fair weathers, because y'all don't really be knowing the team. But for you guys that do remember how big Dan McCullers was, and all you imagined was, man, and if this guy can just get in there and plug up the middle of the field, whether he's at tackle or nose tackle or what have you. And Y.A. Black is that. He is a big boy, and he's doing big boy things in only his rookie year, being a 5th-round pick, because, people, we judge these guys based off of their draft pick, which round they went in, even though, we've seen evidence of guys being later round guys that turned out to be great. But, you can only go off of projections, right? So it's good to see us getting that out of Black. The Steelers double dipping. Derek Harmon looks like he's going to be a freak. So I want to see those two guys play more together, more this season, to get more and more snaps. So we'll see how it goes for the remainder of the season, however long that is. Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. So let's move on to a couple other things. The only other thing I wanted to talk about in terms of what Mike Tomlin said, again, he embraced, the questions about how he feels about, the fan base calling for him being fired and what have you during the Bills game. And again, man, he understands the nature of the business. To me, I understand why you asked the question, I guess, as a reporter, but I don't know what answer they're expecting to get. I mean, I don't think any coach is going to give you an answer that you're satisfied with. It is the nature of the business, so there you have it. He says he feels like he's been on the hot seat for 19 years. So very clever way, clever way of him answering that question. Okay, big time. I guess some of you guys' opinions are laughable, man. But anyway, I appreciate you. Outside of that, guys, what else did I want to talk about? Let's get into a couple things about the games. Let's get into our quick recap. Let me see what we got. I think that's all I have, guys. I have a lot to say, but the topic list itself isn't that long. I just have a lot to say about the game. Let me make sure I'm not missing something else. Recap. Okay. So here we go. First thing, I told you guys on Sunday that I had not watched the first half, because I was not home. I was able to get home to see the last 2 minutes of the first half. And then, of course, I watched the second half. So I have a lot of notes that I took here from the first half, and it was just, some quick things. Let me get into it. First quarter. 12 minutes and 46 seconds left on the clock. It was a 3rd and 6. And the Ravens, they send Zay Flowers in motion to the right of the offense. And you can see Brandon Echols follows him. But then he's motioning to Chuck Clark, because, Chuck Clark is number 21, if I'm not mistaken. He's kind of motioning him to hey, you take the outside. And what happened on that play? Well, Flowers beats Chuck Clark right off of the line. It was basically a foot race from jump. And it was a big gain, a 31-yard gain, which, they thought that it wasn't a catch, but Zay Flowers did a good job getting his knee on the ground. 1 knee equals 2 feet. But I wanted to point that out because in that situation, right, they were in 12 personnel, talking about the Ravens. It was Likely, Andrews, Flowers, and I can't remember who the other receiver was. It might have been Bateman. I didn't understand. Listen, I don't design the defense, and I don't design who takes who. But I was a little confused as to why Echols wouldn't take the speedier guy, if you will, take the receiver and maybe allow the safety to take the tight end. I don't know. I don't know if the Steelers, I'm talking about the players. I'm talking about the players, or again, it could be the play design. I don't know. But either way, maybe they feel like it's a better matchup to get Chuck Clark on the receiver, but I wouldn't think so. And I'm going to prove my point here in just a moment. That particular play was man coverage. They were in man on that play, straight up man. Right? Jalen Ramsey was single high. And also, again, this particular time, they did not disguise. Echols ran over there and he told him to take the outside, and they all were in straight up man coverage. So I'm just curious to know, why was that the chosen matchup, putting Clark on Zay Flowers? Again, it might have just been the way the bunch formation was breaking, the trips formation, and it was kind of a quick decision, right? Because Lamar snapped it pretty much right as Zay Flowers got set. So I don't know, but it was just something for me to take away. Now, later on, same drive. Later on in the drive, the Ravens run a slot fade. Y'all remember that? They ran a slot fade to Zay Flowers. Guess who's guarding him? Brandon Echols. And he makes an excellent play on the ball, and he prevents the Ravens from getting a touchdown. The Ravens have to then settle for 3, and this is how they went up 3-0. So I thought that was a very key moment, guys. Again, little moments like that not everybody will notice in real time. Hey, I didn't see it, so I can't even tell you if I would have noticed that in real time as far as the matchup. But when you go back and watch it, and especially when that was the one of 3 plays I did watch already today on the All-22. When you look at it, you're like, oh, okay, I saw what happened there, and then I saw what happened in this scenario. But it just goes to show you, man, sometimes things is not as easy as you think it is. It's not as bad as you think it is. It's not as good as you think it is at first glance. But that absolutely caught my eye. Why would we put Chuck Clark on Zay Flowers in that situation. Don't know. Really don't know. And it was a straight up man call, but whatever, right? So the next thing I notated, Aaron Rodgers took the deep shot to Metcalf on the very first play of the drive. I wrote, what a throw. What a nice showcase of speed by DK Metcalf. And an overall great call by Arthur Smith. Great call. The reason why it was a great call, not just because it worked. It was a great call because it was outside of the Steeler norm, right? And I wish we would do that a little more often. Sometimes it's just a little itty-bitty chess match here and there. You don't have to trick a team the whole game, but sometimes it's just doing that one thing that they're not expecting at this moment. And the Ravens were not expecting that, especially out of 12 personnel, right? They wasn't expecting us to take a deep shot to Metcalf. They're not, because the Steelers haven't been doing that, right? And obviously we got the right look, and it was interesting because in that particular play, we was in 12, and it was not Calvin Austin, not MVS. It was DK Metcalf and Adam Thielen. Very nice. Adam Thielen was at the Z. So that was a cool, little wrinkle to throw out there on the first play of the game. Now, I don't know this to be true, but I saw one of you guys say Thielen was like a decoy in that game. Let's play into that narrative. If that was the case, very smart putting him out there on that play. Maybe you make the Ravens think, they're going to try to get their new guy the ball quick. I don't know. That's just speculation, but I just thought that was a good call, man, by finally Arthur Smith doing something outside of the norm, something that isn't so predictable. And what a showcase of speed by DK Metcalf. An outstanding throw by Aaron Rodgers. Round of applause to my man Jay Webb, man. We got some Wonder Bread. Yeah. He said, did you notice the first down play calls versus the second half? Yes, and that's something I'm going to talk about here in a moment when I wrap up, because I do want to wrap up a little bit as far as, I want to get to that as far as the play calling and things of that nature. So we'll get to that in just a second. Thank you, Jay Webb. Next thing I notated, Steelers went for it on 4th and 1 on their first drive. The reason why I point this out, you guys often disagree with me in terms of what you think is good or bad coaching, right? I'm just talking about coaches in general. But if we want to keep it for sake of argument, we'll talk about Mike Tomlin because he's the head coach of the Steelers. A lot of times I see you guys debate on things or, feel very strongly on things that you think is blame the head coach for or give credit to the head coach for. Me personally, that to me is something I could clearly look at a head coach and say that was a coaching call. And I'm not sitting here saying it was the greatest call. I'm not saying it was the worst call. I'm just giving y'all an example. You guys always ask me, what do you consider, the head coach? Stuff like that. Going forward on 4th and 1 in that situation versus kicking a field goal. We often get on Tomlin for, a lot of guys, people will say, you always say you don't live in your fears, but then you do conservative, scary stuff. So that's why I point that out. Again, it doesn't matter to me how any of you feel. I'm talking about just a specific situation. Stuff like that is when I look at head coaches. Decision-making like that, time management, challenges, just overall strategy, right? Like when I talk about time management, you can see when coaches call timeouts at the right time to, preserve this and when to go for it and when to not and when to punt. Stuff like that is head coach ability, right? in managing the game. Head coaches have their imprint on the entire team, yes. But I always tell you guys, I put more onus on in-game situations as far as on the field, on players and coordinators. The ones who are making play calls and the players who are to execute the play call. And then when I find out a head coach made a play call, I put emphasis and blame on them as well, or I give them credit and praise as well. So just wanted to point that out so you guys kind of understand. I really like them going for it on that 4th and 1. I mean, to me, it was a no-brainer. You had some momentum going, so if they had not done that, I would have been pissed. But then also, again, giving Arthur Smith a nod. I thought that was a good play call on the 3rd and goal. The one where Aaron Rodgers went into play action, looked for a second, nothing there, and he took off. Great play call. Now, this is where I would object. I think you should kind of do that more so on 2nd down, right? Because most people think you're just going to just try to pound it in on 1st and 2nd, but maybe do that play action on 1st down or 2nd down. We did it on 3rd and it worked, but I'm not going to, chump the call. But if it was my preference, I would do it earlier in the downs to kind of keep definitely keep a defense off balance. But that was a good call. Gave Aaron Rodgers the option to boot it out or get going if nothing was there. So you got to give Aaron Rodgers credit too, because again, it wasn't a design boot. At least it didn't look like it. He did the fake handoff. He stood there for a second like he was scanning the field, and then he decided to take off. So see, again, stuff like that, that's a player thing. My apologies, guys. Still dealing with allergies. But yeah, I really like that. Really like that sequence right there. The next thing, Brandon Echols had a sack as the slot corner. Wow. Wow. That's all I can say is wow. Round of applause to my good brother C.T. Pittman with the Wonder Bread, man. Let's check out that comment. Thank you, sir. He says, man, Alex Highsmith is a problem when he's healthy. I like Herbig and how he's developing, but there's no comparison when Highsmith is on one like he was on Sunday. This is an interesting comment, guys. Not from C.T. Pittman, but I'm going to say it to you guys, largely the fan base. Some of y'all probably would disagree with that. Y'all remember when y'all kept trying to say Herbig should start over Highsmith? Y'all remember that early in the season? Y'all remember? You remember when some of y'all right in here tonight. Some of you guys was pounding the table. Oh, he needs to be the starter, blah, 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 blah. And remember all I kept saying, and I'm sure others were saying it. Remember I kept saying, why do you guys always try to have one guy at a time? Why aren't you guys comfortable with the 3-man rotation? Why is it that, now he should start? I don't understand that mentality by Steeler Nation. For those of you that apply to. I don't understand that. I've been saying that. Alex Highsmith is fine. Alex Highsmith is doing more than you guys think. Some of you guys only look at sack totals to determine how good someone is or isn't. Prime example, some of y'all are killing TJ Watt right now. Killing him. Now, TJ Watt's sack numbers are not as high as they used to be. But have you paid attention to how often TJ Watt is chipped? Matter of fact, a couple games ago, they even showed it on the broadcast. TJ Watt is doubled or chipped double the amount of any other pass rusher. And I think they highlighted on that broadcast, it was Myles Garrett and somebody else. It might have been Max Crosby or one of them. Y'all don't pay attention to all of the dirty work. They try to take him out of the game. That is their intention every single game. But then y'all don't give TJ Watt for the other stuff that he does. How many tackles did he have on Sunday where he's crashing down the line of scrimmage and meeting Derrick Henry right at the line and making the tackle? Again, yes, I posed the question in one of these weeks, might have been last week, when I was like, hey, is TJ Watt playing up to his contract? It's debatable. I don't just look at sacks. Again, and I also look at these games, guys, or the game of football. It is market value. It's just that simple. That is why guys get paid what they get paid. It is market value, and if a guy has been the man or been one of the top 5 men at his position, he's going to get paid whether you agree or not. I heard something the other night that I didn't even remember. They said that Dak Prescott is making $60 million per year. 60. That is a lot of money. Now, Dak Prescott has played some good football, but that is a lot of money. And I'm sure some of you guys in this chat would say, he ain't worth that. However, it is the market value, ladies and gentlemen. That is the way pro sports work. Right? So, again, you can have your opinion and say, oh, so-and-so is not worth this, not worth that. But I think you guys are a little too harsh on TJ Watt. For one, TJ Watt is an elder statesman now. Is it possible that he's slowing down a bit? For two, TJ Watt is doing more things than just getting sack numbers. Number 3, TJ Watt is chipped double the amount of any other pass rusher in the league. And number 4, why do y'all try to make it an indictment on a player that he's, let me do the quote fingers. Oh, he washed now. He's older. Like y'all try to classify players and say they wash and all that at a point where technically they should be. He should be on the downside. I just don't understand us, man. I don't understand this fan base sometimes, even though I love y'all. I love this fan base, but I really don't understand the opinions that some of you guys have. I don't. TJ Watt does a lot more than you guys think. But you know who else y'all did that to? The guy we about to play this Monday. Y'all did the same thing to Minka. Because Minka wasn't getting any interceptions. Oh, he's trash. Man, you guys crack me up, but I love y'all. Let's see, what else do I got, man? Oh, another big throw to DK Metcalf in the second quarter. Aaron Rodgers was making some throws out there. He was making some throws. I will say this. Let me acknowledge this while it's on my mind. Not a ton of throws in the middle of the field still. You know, even though we were hitting DK Metcalf, even though we were connecting with him quite a few times, it still was outside the numbers. Right? And a team's going to take that away at some point. So we got to get back to the middle of the field. I know we had been doing it this season with Darnell Washington, and we have been doing it some with Pat Fryermuth. So I hope we really start focusing more on the middle of the field. Because, again, I don't think Aaron Rodgers has the same restrictions that some of the other quarterbacks may have had. But I would like to see us do that a little more, man. Even with the Calvin Austins, man, with some more of the over routes. We saw some of that earlier in the season. I don't want us to fall back in love with just outside the numbers. Now, when you got the matchup, take it. But you guys understand what I'm saying. Let's mix it up. After hearing what some of you guys had to say, as well as, they mentioned it on the broadcast as well. I didn't think about it this way. That I do think that the Steelers wanted to put some more size out there at receiver, which is probably why, both Thielen and Valdez-Scantling were out there. And I'm not mad at that, guys, as we go down the stretch. I'm not. Let's take advantage wherever we can take advantage. And if that is the case, then Artie Smith, let's do more 11 personnel. More of it. More of it. All right. Just want to comment on something Big Timer just said right there. Again, guys, I think we say things that we don't know to be a fact, right? You know, you said that's Mike Tomlin's philosophy. I will give you this much. I think that may have been Mike Tomlin's philosophy, depending on who the quarterback was. That was not the philosophy when Mike Tomlin was coaching Ben Roethlisberger. It wasn't. We started seeing them vacate the middle of the field with Mitch Trubisky, with Duck Hodges, with Mason Rudolph, with Kenny Pickett. Let's not forget all of those years that those guys were the quarterbacks. So I can't prove this either, but I just can't strongly say that's his philosophy. I just think it depends on who's his quarterback. Because like I said, clearly, if you look at this entire season, we have thrown the ball in the middle of the field more than we have in the last few years with Aaron Rodgers. I do not think that Mike Tomlin has training wheels or a short leash with Aaron Rodgers. I do not believe that. Again, do you guys remember how many times we've seen Darnell Washington catch balls down the seam this season? We all have been asking for more Darnell Washington, right? Who's the man getting him the ball? First ballot Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers. See what I'm saying? So I feel what you guys are saying, but okay, Big Timer. You're saying that's not true. All right. Let's agree to disagree. But again, I watch the games just like you guys do. Maybe we all have a difference of opinion on the amount of times and this and that, but we have most certainly passed the ball in the middle of the field more this season than we have in the past seasons. Are we doing it routinely? Maybe not, but like I said, I'm not gonna, debate that. Whatever. I'm not debating that, okay? I'm not debating that. We'll leave it at that. Jay Webb, thank you for that Wonder Bread, my brother. He says we should not be losing to Miami in the cold weather, period. Their cold game record is terrible. Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree with that, but we'll see. We'll see, Jay Webb. I'm not one of those guys that really believe in that or play into that, to be honest. I agree with you 100%, but, hey, a warm weather team can be full of guys who come from the cold weather. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about that. In theory, I agree with you, but that ain't no excuse, man. I feel like if we were a cold weather team and we go play in 90 degrees, I still feel like we should go be able to get it done. It might affect us a little bit, but we should go get it done. So yeah. Only other thing I will say, and again, shout outs to you, Big Timer, but what you said right here is my exact point. You said he changed it when Ben retired. Did I not say that? Did I not say post Ben Roethlisberger until Aaron Rodgers? That was exactly what I said. I actually agree with you, and I said, yeah, probably so, depending on who his quarterback was. That's what I said. That's why I said I'm not going to debate it, because I said exactly what you just said. So I don't know. But it's all good, brother. Have your opinion, I have mine, and I appreciate you tuning in. And like I said, we'll just agree to disagree, guys. I'm just not going to waste my time trying to debate any of you guys of your opinion, because it's yours. I don't own it. I'm not trying to take your opinion. Only thing I ask you guys to do as we all communicate as a family is let's not argue about somebody's opinion. We can all just say, oh, okay, well, I think differently. Oh, okay, I agree with you. We don't have to debate, because it's opinions. Let's see what else we got. Let's see what else we got, guys. I have a little more stuff here. Great play call by Arthur Smith, and it might have been luck. It might have been luck. And let me show you guys how I don't speculate. I would like to think that Arthur Smith called that quick pass to Jaylen Warren because the Ravens were blitzing. But honestly, I don't know that. I have to go back when I watch the film to see if the Ravens were constantly blitzing or if they were blitzing in certain down and distance. And it's the reason that was open. Or did Aaron Rodgers check to that? I don't know. But I am going to say in theory, it was a great, what I wrote here was great call at the right time. We just happened to catch them in the blitz. And what an outstanding throw. Well, throw. It wasn't an outstanding throw. What an outstanding call, a pitch and catch, as they call it, to Jaylen Warren. I mean, you're not going to get an easier touchdown than that. I mean, I ain't never seen nothing work that seamlessly. If they blitz, throw it here, run for the touchdown. I mean, it was the thing of beauty. So like I said, because I don't know for certain if that was a built-up call or if that was a out-coached call, you know, as people like to say, oh, so-and-so out-coached up. I don't know. Maybe they saw that blitz earlier. Because I don't know, I'm just going to say it was the right play call at the right time. And that's how I feel about that. Next thing I got here, guys, I told y'all I got a lot to talk about. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. I'm going to take a sip of water real quick. The elephant in the room. The touchdown that got reversed to Isaiah Likely. This is what cracks me up about fan bases, period. I've even said that about Steeler Nation. We always want to make it about one call. Oh, they would have won if it wasn't for that. Oh, they got robbed, yada, yada, yada. I liked what I heard Tomlin say today, and I've heard other coaches say this. So I want to give most NFL coaches credit for saying this. It shouldn't come down to one play. It should not come down to one play. Right? I told y'all how I felt on Sunday. Do I think that was a touchdown? I think it was a touchdown the same way I thought Jesse James caught it against the New England Patriots in a year where the Steelers should have been 14-2 as opposed to 13-3. You caught the ball 2 feet down. That's what we've always known in most cases is a catch. Jesse James catches the ball, stretches it out, right? Catch, knee down, stretch. That's 3. A knee is 2 feet. So secure, knee down, stretch ball out, break plane, lose the ball. That should have been touchdown Jesse James. Based off of the rule that they said for Isaiah Likely. Now, if I remember correctly, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, because I definitely don't believe that I'm right or believe or remember everything. But this whole third football move, how long has that been around? How long has that been around? Is that kind of a fairly new thing? Where you have to have 2 feet possession and then a third football movement. Is that fairly new, guys? Look at that. Since 2023, per Kenyon. Kenyon says 2023. Big Timer says a while, I would say. I don't know. That's what I'm asking. It came in 2023. So here's what I would say. Because I know the Jesse James catch, no catch, changed some rules also. This whole surviving the ground nonsense. looking at that, all of us probably assumed that was a touchdown. But if it didn't match the letter of the law, then it's not a touchdown. It's just that simple. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. Looking at it, I would say, man, that should be a touchdown. I'll absolutely say it should be a touchdown. Maybe that third step rule shouldn't apply in the end zone. I fully agree with all of that. But what I don't agree with is everybody's saying, oh, they got robbed. They didn't, if that is the current rule. That's it. That's just it. In my eyes, I'm not defending it. I'm telling y'all again, so you don't think it's a biased answer. I think that should be a touchdown. But the way Gene's, how you say that dude's name? Stetator, y'all know who I'm talking about. The way he explained it, the way they're explaining the rule, the third football motion or third step didn't happen. It's a bad break. The rule is the rule, man. I mean, that's all I'm saying. And here's the funny part. And this is, again, I don't even engage with people on X and all that because I let people have their opinions. Did y'all see all the people posting the comparison of the catch Roman Wilson made against the Packers? I think it was. If you look at the video, Roman Wilson took more than 3 steps when he was backing into the end zone, and he was caught the ball and was pinning it, trying to pin it against the defender. Like, he clearly made all the steps and was doing an additional move before the ball came out. Not the same. It was not the same at all, but that is the video I kept seeing comparing Roman Wilson to Isaiah Likely. I'm like, come on, man. Come on. It's not like, here's another one. Now, I will admit, I don't know how this one works. The Aaron Rodgers situation. Everybody was saying, well, where is his third foot and football move and all of that? Listen, according to the rules, from what they said, I don't know if it was right or wrong, but according to what the ref said, they considered him down by contact. I don't know how that's different. I'm just saying, man, whatever they ruled is whatever they ruled. But here's the kicker. What are you talking about, big timer? You said, why are you lying? What am I lying about? I'm going to answer whatever you got to say after that. Then after that, I'm not responding. But what are you talking about? You said he never pinned it to his body. Who? You talking about Roman Wilson? I said Roman Wilson had possession and was trying to pin it to the defender. Is that not what he did? Did anybody else see that catch? I didn't say he pinned it to his body. If I said that, I misspoke. I said he was trying to pin it to the defender, had possession, tried to do something else with the ball with more than 2 feet. He took a 4th step. That was a catch. That was a catch. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Like, again, guys, keep it respectful. All that you like, yo, I don't allow that type of crazy talk, man. It ain't about that. All the opinions and personal stuff, we ain't doing that. All right, well, again, I'm not responding to you no more. Agree to disagree. Let's move on. I don't understand why we have to stay. Like, why do we have to stay on this stuff? The games are over. Like, who cares? It's over. But anyway, like I said, I would consider the Isaiah Likely catch a catch. But according to the rules, he didn't catch it. Credit to number 24 for knocking the ball out. That's it. Here's the kicker, though. If you look earlier in that, was it the fourth or the third? I can't remember. Hold on, I got it here somewhere. Early in the fourth quarter, guess what? Guess what? The Ravens had a clear touchdown with Rashad Bateman, and he dropped it. I'm only saying that because, again, guys, I agree with the coach and most coaches, and maybe if I listened to Harbaugh, I didn't hear his comments, he might have said the same thing. Most NFL coaches will say, listen, it shouldn't come down to one play. The Ravens had other opportunities to win the game. Fact of the matter is, the Steelers outplayed them in the first half. The Steelers got lax in the second half, and they was able to march their way back. They got their run game going. A little too late. Bad break with the Isaiah Likely, but I'm not going to say it was a bad break according to the rule. The rule, again, I'm just going off of the rule. He didn't catch it. But Bateman had an opportunity to catch a wide open pass for a first down, which I think would have been a touchdown. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All right, you know what? Why am I even sitting here dealing with this? Hold on, guys. Hold on, guys. Give me a second. All right, big timer. It was nice knowing you, brother. We gonna holler at you. Who cares? Like, this stuff is so stupid, guys. And again, I told y'all, I will throw a block party in a heartbeat. I don't have time for this. This ain't the environment I'm trying to create. My environment is not toxic. My environment is not biased. We all can sit here and agree and disagree about everything, every player, every coach. But when people start talking like they doing this, doing that, who got time for that? Who cares? I don't. Goodbye. Round of applause to Jay Webb. Appreciate the Wonder Bread, sir. He says, Sim, number 24, too handsy again. Yeah, man. That's why he ain't got his name back. That's why. That's why he ain't got his name back. That's exactly why. Too handsy, man. He gotta chill because, again, like I said on Sunday, man, there was an opportunity for the Steelers to get off the field on a 3rd and 8. Jalen Warren, I keep calling him Warren. Jalen Ramsey made the play. But number 24 is called for holding away from the ball. That drive continues, and the Ravens score. Pretty sure they would have kicked the field goal at 4th and 8. I can't say 100%, but I think at that point of the game, they would have kicked the field goal. And Luke makes it or misses it. Who knows which one? But what we do know is it would not have been 7 points. So there was all kinds of things happening in that game. Last thing I'm going to say before I get to the couple calls that we have. Steelers offense, man. Number one, I don't like to see when we relax. Go with what's been working. Go with what's been working. I understand you want to try to be a little conservative, but no. That's one philosophy that I wish we did not have. And if that is a Coach T thing, I would tell him face to face, I don't like that, sir. Go with what's been working. Why do teams, and especially the Steelers, why do you go so conservative when you build the lead? I'm not telling you to press the issue, but do what's been working. Now, granted, I will say they did try to pass the ball a little bit more in the second half when I thought they wouldn't. But again, the early down plays, the way we try to run the ball, like, just go with what's working, man. Build another lead. Get another touchdown on the board before you take the foot off the gas. And they're going to have to find a way to run the ball, man. Like, honestly, The offense wasn't that bad, honestly, when I look at the game again, outside of the fact that they couldn't run. If we could have got any type of run game going, that game is totally different. Guys, if we could run the football when we up 20-9, you take time off the clock. When you're able to get runs in chunks, you ain't got to do like the kid Mitchell and bust off the 56-yarder, excuse me. It ain't got to be that. But what if we could get a couple of them Derrick Henry runs? 6, 7, 8, 4, 12, 8, 7, 11. Like, that takes time off the clock. If we able to run the football when we up 11, it's not even debatable. For as long as we had a double-digit lead, if we're able to run the football at all, we kill the clock. Those last 3 possessions offensively, we forced to pass the ball because we couldn't run it. This is what I'm saying. And that's why some of them play calls were wonky, because we can't run the ball. And clearly Aaron Rodgers can still play. Aaron Rodgers, when he's in his bag, he can still play. He can still throw the ball. He can even move, get out of the pocket. Like that one, we can't forget about the play where he, dipped and dodged, went to the left, came back, found DK across the middle. He can still give you that. The one thing that is missing, again, this whole season has been ups and downs, but the one thing that is clearly missing from the offense still going into week 15 is the run game. This is exactly why I have no confidence, guys, in whether this team is going to win the division or get into the playoffs and win a playoff game. I still don't see it. Anything they do from this point on will be a surprise. So, that's what I got. We got a couple calls in the queue. Let's grab them. First one, always going to be the first one. Mr. Winningham, let's get him on, guys. Give me a second. There we are. Mr. Winningham, how you doing tonight, sir?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Oh, okay. I had to get the phone to work. I'm glad we came out and won. I mean, to look as bad as we did last Sunday against Buffalo, and to come out and get some revenge from last year. I mean, that was big. I feel that we couldn't run the ball as effectively as if we would have had Donnell Washington throughout the entire game. I'm hoping that we get him and a few other guys back from concussion protocol, along with Kyle Duggar, who didn't play in the game. But I'm very happy that we won the game. I saw in the beginning of the game, T.J. Watt came out. He and Cam Hayward had bad intentions, and I was glad to see some aggressiveness. But I hope we get our first-round draft pick from Oregon back. I'm still seeing some things that disappoint me. I'm seeing a man like Keanu Benton getting blown off the ball. But no, according to the rules and from what I saw, and you don't have to comment on it afterwards because you've already had some other people on there. But I mean, he had 2 steps, but to me, he wasn't holding the ball very well. Looked like he was holding a pineapple up in the air, but by the time he took the 3rd step, that's when Porter knocked the ball out of his hand. I don't know what the rule is. It's crazy. We won the game. I hope we can continue and beat Miami next Monday night. Thank you so much. I hope everybody have a great week.
Thank you, Mr. Winningham. Like always, we appreciate you. And yeah, man. And that's that's my thought process in it. I'm trying to have as unbiased of an answer as I can. And I said it Sunday, I said it tonight. To me, with the naked eye, I call that a touchdown any day of the week. But if the so-called rule is you got to have possession first, 2 feet down, and then you have to make a third football movement, which can be a 3rd foot, tucking the ball, What else? It was a couple other examples they gave us. Based on those examples, it didn't happen. Number 24 happened to get the ball out before that could happen. And it just is what it is, man. So, that's what I got. That's what I got. But appreciate you calling like always, man. And I look forward to getting some of those guys back in the fold as well. Let me grab the Wonder Bread and then I'll come back to the calls. Round of applause to Afro Thunder. Appreciate that, sir. Oh, my bad. I didn't unmute. He says, how many times does number 24 have to make plays before he gets his name back? And y'all know this is just fun. Y'all, it's just fun that I have with the players, man. I respect each and every player, but it's just a fun little thing that I do when guys are not playing their best. I don't call them by their name, right? Let me go ahead and put a qualifier on number 24. Had he not got 2 defensive penalties in this game, I would have called him his name. Yeah. That's all he has to do. That's all he has to do. Last several games, he hasn't really played bad defensively in terms of coverage and things like that. But he's got to stop getting penalties. Penalties that cost the Steelers. Until he is unable or until he is able to not get defensive penalties consecutively, he's number 24. And that's what it is. We got another donation, man. Let me get these out and acknowledge them so I don't forget. Round of applause to CT Pittman. Yes, he has. He says, Gainwell has been a great addition. He's picking up key third downs, too. If he can keep his footing, he'd have more tutties. I do agree with that, man. Absolutely agree with that. And very quietly, guys, if y'all are paying attention, the Steelers are in a nice position at the running back. Nice. I don't know how many years Gainwell signed for. I think it's more than one. I think Jaylen Warren, is he still under contract or is he about to be a free agent? Can't remember. But I would love to see them run that back another season because Caleb Johnson is still coming, guys. I know y'all haven't seen him, but he's coming. And what I mean by that is Caleb Johnson is going to be a nice running back in the NFL. Mark my words. Book it. I would like to see the 3 of those guys back next season. All 3. Because what Kenneth Gainwell is giving us, what Jaylen Warren is giving us, and if Caleb Johnson gets more touches to help spell those guys, yeah, I like that. I like that. We got a block for him, though. Oh, they did pay. They paid Warren. Okay, so there it is. I didn't remember that. Perfect. I like that. I like that trio. I take it any day of the week. All right, let's grab. I don't know who was next. Discord is funny like that, so I'm gonna grab DJ, then Zuri Rivers, and then Kurd Dog, in that order. So DJ, what you got for us? Thanks for calling, brother.
Hey, what's up, Sam? How you doing?
Good. What's going on?
I'm well. I'm a first to say this. I think the division, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. I was in the stadium Sunday. This Ravens are defeated. They are defeated. And the Steelers, they came into this ready to play. I think, the Fire Tomlin haters really, really got into some of the players' skin and inspired them. They came in. Energy was high. The go ball straight to DK from the get-go. I think it really, really set the tone. And I was shocked because I also thought that the O-line played much better without Broderick Jones. I don't know why. it just seemed like Aaron Rodgers has so much time to throw the ball, and changes were happening on the fly. And also I felt like the defense, in particularly in the secondary, was clicking. It was really good to see the communication, especially on the backside. I still am really, really worried about the interior defense. I mean, any team can run straight through Pittsburgh right now. It's crazy. It's crazy. And then lastly, I just would like to say, I want Kevin Colbert and Omar Khan arrested. All the blame is being put on Mike Tomlin when those are the two culprits. Look at Kevin Colbert's last couple draft class. Look at Omar Khan. Nobody's there still. It's like they're all gone. They've traded them away or they're not playing. And Mike Tomlin is getting that slack. But look what he's winning with. So for all the Mike Tomlin haters out there, I want you to sit back and think what this man is doing with what he's got. Yes, we got the highest paid defense now. Okay. And yes, we got Aaron Rodgers. To Sim's point, that's why things are looking, really good on the offensive side, because he's a veteran. He can call those things. But lest we not remember Mason Rudolph, Dux Hodges, and the likes of those. I'm sorry, I went over my time. My apologies. I just had to get that out there. Thank you, Sim.
Nah, man, you good. Thanks for calling. I appreciate it. Said a lot there, man. I always like hearing the perspective of people who were at the game. And it definitely did. I mean, it looked like it. Y'all know me. Y'all know I'm one of those guys that's like, I don't necessarily believe in they came ready this time. I believe coaches and players are ready to play every week, but sometimes there's a little extra juice. And what he said, there may be some truth to that. The team may have felt like, that's how we doing. We're going to go play hard for the coach. Or they understand that win is significant if they want to be able to control their own fate and destiny. And it definitely felt like, the Steelers came out and they got out on top of the Ravens. That's what you got to do. So Mike Tomlin and Arthur Smith, if you guys are listening, I know you're not, but that's what you have to do. You can't sit back and play your same old game. You got to strike first. You must strike first. And I thought doing that was significant. Flipping that field like that, just one play makes the Ravens look at it different. Like, whoa. We didn't think that was going to happen. And we stayed on their neck the whole first half. And I felt like we backed off of that a little bit in the second half. And my man was right. That interior does bother me a little bit, man. Guys are going to pop off runs, but we just give up too many explosive runs. And that's scary. The colder it gets and, the deeper you go in the season and if you get in the playoffs, the teams that can run the ball and possess the ball are the teams that win. And right now, we're not doing a great job stopping the run. And we're not doing a great job running the ball. And there you have it. And real quick, just with the Tomlin thing, man. Listen, I think it's a fair point for those who want something new. Because of the amount of years. The only point I always make is I think when people say that Tomlin is not a good coach, I just absolutely disagree with that. Has he been in Pittsburgh too long? We can all debate that. Right, and I think that's what it is. After you've seen the same thing for so long, and we haven't won a playoff game since 2016, I get it. I just would always debate the Tomlin not being a good coach theory. I will always debate that, and that's just my opinion. Next up, my man, Zuri Rivers. What you got for us?
What it do, Walt?
What's up, man?
Not much, man. Got to show love to both teams. They do what they do. With me personally, I'm never satisfied. Trying to go into details with a little more. It's just some things that I see that, man, we can improve on. Like, one thing I saw, I think it was Calvin Austin had caught a pass on the sideline. And, situations like that, when you don't know if it's a catch or not, we got to have a sense of urgency to like, hey, come on, let's get this out the way so they won't review it. I think Arthur Smith was trying to substitute. I'm just like, come on, man, you gotta have a sense of urgency. Like know what you're looking at. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing that kills me. Time management too is another thing. For years, we all know about that. We like I said, we can't. We're not gonna win no games when one team rushing 200 some yards and we got 30. Yeah, it happened today, but we can't win like that in the playoffs, man. No, like I said, offense. A killer thing on offense too. I guess it's the philosophy. You know what I'm saying? One thing I hate. Our defense is good, but it's not like the Texans. You know what I'm saying? Like, to help our defense, offense needs to win that time of possession battle, bro. Like, keep the opposing offense off the field to help our defense out, to make them one dimensional. You see what I'm saying? So we won't get gashed for 1,000 yards a game. You know what I'm saying? That's all I got, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for calling, and hey, I can't disagree with that at all. That's the biggest disappointment, man. It's like we just, like you said, it's almost like, right? You see when they have a good game, you're like, okay, I see where they could do some things, but then it's like the team. We don't trust the team. You know what I mean? We don't trust the team. And that's the truth of the matter. We don't trust the team. They don't give us anything to trust. As soon as you start thinking, oh, we could do this, and here come the defense giving up 200 yards rushing. As soon as the defense starts bottling up the run and having a pretty solid day on defense, offense ain't doing nothing. It's like we don't have that consistency. And you're right. I love what you said about the Texans, because you guys heard me come on here and say a few weeks ago, we need to be a good defense without turnovers. Now, granted, the Texans got turnovers in this last game this past week. However, you've seen teams like them just have solid defense. They get off the field on certain drives where it doesn't require a turnover. And that, I don't feel that our defense does that. Now, again, this is the NFL, folks. Offenses are going to move the ball. Offenses are going to score. But the really good defenses can also just play good defense consistently, and it doesn't require 3, 4, 5 turnovers. And I think the Texans are more than capable of doing that. And sometimes, like, a team is just going to give you turnovers, right? Just like Jalen Hurts. I don't know what Jalen Hurts was doing. Some of those passes was like, they're money balls. They just come right to you. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't have that comfort feeling with our team. I just don't. So like I said, from this point on, I'm just, let them surprise me each week. However far we go will be a surprise. But I don't expect it. All right, we got one more, man. Excuse me. What we're going to have to do, guys, I'm going to have to come up with a schedule for calls, because, some of you guys come on later and I just can't spend but so long on the show. But we'll figure it out, man, to where I don't have to not, at a point where I can't answer everybody's call. But tonight, some of you guys just came a little bit later, so I'm only going to take Cur Dog's call, and then we'll wrap up the show. So what's going on, man? What you got for us?
Yeah, thank you, Sim, for taking my call. I kind of agree with you as far as like where we're at, as far as like just as a whole big picture. I was glad for the Ravens win. I predicted us to win that one. I didn't know how it was going to look, but I just had a feeling we was going to win it. But it doesn't make me any more confident as far as like playoffs or winning a playoff game. And I just wanted to kind of speak to a point that I think the second caller had. He said, Mike Tomlin is catching a lot of flack, but he tried to say that Tomlin, he was Kevin Colbert and the GMs need to be responsible. And, well, he needs to look and listen to Ben Roethlisberger's podcast, because he said on there Mike Tomlin has more control than anybody except Mr. Rooney, of course. But Ben basically was like, he's got his hands on everything, the draft, the roster, position, who's going to play what. That's Mike Tomlin. So we can't no longer just use that as he's just, making the best of the hand he's dealt. Highest paid defense. I mean, yeah, TJ Watt, he's a big number on that, but I mean, look at, like you say, Houston, they got a great defense. They ain't near about, like, I don't think they're that much more talented than the Steelers defensively wise. We got young talent. We got older veteran guys. We got a good mix. But I just think, it's going to be hard to win in the playoffs with the formula they have. I just don't know. I like Mike Tomlin, but I do believe he is and most people say, he's a motivator. And I just think those guys, they're really good in the beginning of seasons. And I think that's why he starts off good. The team, plays good. And then they kind of fizzle out towards the end of the season because the message gets kind of stale. I'm just speculating, but that's what it seems like. So, I hope we do win a playoff game. That's my goal. And, that's what I'm looking forward to. So, that's all we can hope for. Appreciate it.
Hey, man, I really appreciate that call, man. First of all, thanks for calling and chiming in. But I even appreciate your perspective, man. The main thing that I love that you said, it was like, hey, man, that's just how it feels to me. I know I'm speculating. Nothing wrong with that. I'm never going to debate. First of all, I don't want to debate opinions, but I'm never going to debate anybody that say, man, that's what it looks like to me. The only ones that I will semi-entertain is when people act as if they know for a fact, right? And we should be able to have this kind of dialogue. I really appreciate his comments there. He's right? Ben Roethlisberger said it, and I actually believe that. Because if I was a head coach, I would want that. It should be like Bill Belichick, what he was at the Patriots. So I don't deny that Tomlin has his hand in mostly everything. The only thing I've always said, though, is I believe he allows his coaches to coach, meaning he doesn't make the play calls. We see that on the sideline, right? But, yeah, I'm sure he has his hands all over the defense. Offensive philosophy, we talked about that tonight. He was looser with Ben Roethlisberger, and they was willing to put up points because, again, the infamous quote, hey, they got the best defense in the world. Yeah, but I got you. He had full faith in Ben. He has faith in Aaron Rodgers. Them quarterbacks in between, not so much. And I've said, too, that I think Tomlin loves his philosophies to a fault, meaning that he believes so strongly in what he brings to the table that it can work, and maybe it can. Maybe he just don't have the right players. I don't know. Like, that's always going to be a mystery, Like I said, guys, I have no comeback to any of that. After 19 years now, we can pretty much say 19 years because this season's almost over. It's a long time. It's a long time. I'm always going to lean on the side of saying I think the man is a really good football coach. I like to hear the opinions of people that can articulate why he's not a good football coach, right? And not saying that you necessarily feel this way. I'm just using your comment when you said, I think he's a good motivator, right? And some people have said that, I think he's a good motivator, and Terry Bradshaw called him a cheerleader, right? But he's not a good football coach. But I guess where my question always comes into play is what evidence do we have that he's not a great football coach? Because all of his ex-players talk about how much X's and O's that he knows. So I'm cool with any of us having our opinions about said coach, said players. I don't jive so much when people speak in absolutes because we don't know. And I tend to believe, Ben Roethlisberger, of course. But Ben has said numerous times how great of a coach Mike Tomlin is. See what I'm saying? So, I don't know. Round of applause to Walter Worthy. Appreciate that Wonder Bread, sir. He says, so with that power, does Tomlin determine who gets paid? What? Said it before and I'll say it again. Issues are organizational, not one man. I tend to believe that too, man. I tend to believe that too. Just like I definitely think that, again, can I disagree with a former player? Sure, I can. I don't want to disagree with Ben, but I don't think it's all Tomlin. Like, Ben Roethlisberger was running the offenses. Come on, man. We all know that. Like, whether we know it for a fact or we saw it, we all know the headbutts that he had with certain coordinators, and he wanted to do his thing, and he had the autonomy to call the offense. How many times they said Ben basically called the whole fourth quarter? You know what I mean? So it's like, there's a little bit of overkill in the statement, but I do understand Ben's sentiment, right? And I'm sure he does have that type of control. I think Andy Reid probably does too. I think guys like Sean McVay probably does too. I would imagine Sean Payton is probably the same way too. We know Bill Belichick was in New England. So I don't think it's as unique as it might have been made to sound. And I think there's a good collection of coaches that probably do have that full autonomy. And I would imagine that Mike Tomlin does. I mean, you're in one place for 19 years. Pretty sure that Rooney's and whoever else gives you a long runway. So, man, I hope I can get rid of these allergies soon, guys. But that's all I got, man. You know, I don't have much more on it. I think me and Kurt Dog had the same opinion. I don't see this team going anywhere, guys. We're just okay. Let's say that the biggest problem I think that we've seen here over the last 7 years of the Mike Tomlin era, they continue to try to add old, wildly veterans at all of these positions. And the Steelers, and that might lead into what Walter Worthy said, the Steeler organization will need to be comfortable rebuilding. That might mean a couple losing seasons. That might mean, you know, going through a rough patch with your quarterback for the first year or two until he gets it. That is really what they need to do. Yes, they have drafted some young talent that is starting to cultivate a little bit, but they're going to have to do that roster wide, right? And that's the reason why some of these other teams, they don't have the most expensive defense, because they don't have a TJ Watt caliber player, but also they have a lot of young bucks, a lot of up-and-coming guys. A lot of these teams that had losing records and had some rough seasons, but now they're starting to click. The Steelers have not done that. They just have not done it. Like the evidence is right there. They have not done that. And that is probably the worst part of it. It's what Ryan Clark said. The Steelers are in championship purgatory. And that's, like Ryan Clark said, is the worst place to be in. Because you have these aspirations and the fan base has these aspirations, and they do just enough to hang around, and they're in the middle of the pack and they sneak in the playoffs here and there, but they're just not quite a good enough team. Think about it, guys. All of these playoff teams, think about it. All of the playoff games we've gone to since that Kansas City win, did y'all really think we were winning any of those games? Like, seriously. Seriously, did we think we were winning? Think about it. I'm asking you guys personally, did y'all have comfort going into any of those games? The one I thought that we probably should have won, that Cleveland won, I didn't understand how we lost that. And it just got out of hand. I was nervous about the Jacksonville one because our defense was not good that year. Sure enough, was nervous about that same 2016 season when we had to go to New England. But all of the rest of these playoff games that we've been in since then, I ain't think we was winning them games at all. At all. And the reason why we didn't think that, guys, because we didn't have that feeling that some of these good teams have. We didn't have that feeling. Y'all know the feeling. We've been there. Most of us in this chat, if you weren't there, like I wasn't, for the what do you call it? The dynasty years in the 70s, you were there for the Ben Roethlisberger 2 Super Bowls that you felt those teams. I knew that team was gonna beat Seattle. I knew that team was gonna beat the Cardinals, even though that game was close. We felt like we were the best team. We have not felt that. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, I had to come to that realization, guys. I did have to be like, you know what? I don't know why you get so upset, because I know this ain't a winning team. I had to come to that realization about 6 years ago, like, dog, be honest. You really feel good about this team? No. And y'all know, y'all are my witness. Y'all hear me say it every year. The last one y'all heard me say was when we was 12-0, and we went and played Washington, a Chase Young Washington. And I sat right here on this show. I was like, I don't know about this. I know we undefeated, but we don't look like no 12-0. Y'all remember that? And that's what I'm saying. It hurts that we haven't been winning. It hurts, guys. I'm with y'all, but I've just been real about it. None of these teams have made me feel like even the Detroit team a couple years ago. None of our veteran teams made me feel like the Aaron Donald Super Bowl Rams. Veterans, packed full of veterans. None of our packed full of veteran teams felt like that. None of our young talent teams feels like the Texans. Feel like the Eagles. Feel like the Bills. For that matter, even though the Bills can't get over the hump. None of our teams have felt like the Ravens. In the last couple of years, we've thought, man, it might be the Ravens' year. Definitely ain't felt like no Kansas City team. I'm just saying. Just saying, man. I don't know. I can't wait till we can get that again. Let me get this Wonder Bread and then I'm out of here. My man CT, appreciate you, brother. Yeah, it hurts, man. It hurts. I just want y'all to know I feel y'all pain, man. I think, and some of you guys think I'm going the other way, right? Like y'all, if y'all have rocked with me as long as y'all have, y'all should know that I understand what you're saying. Y'all should know where I come from, right? Y'all should know the perspective I take. It shouldn't be no question. It shouldn't be no question. Y'all been listening to me long enough to know, homie, he not biased. Y'all should know that. That's why I don't deal with that. I can disagree, and you can, we can disagree, and I love banter. But all of the negative comments and you just no, I ain't dealing with that, because y'all know that ain't who I am. My man says, I agree with you, Sim. I don't see this team going anywhere, but the AFC isn't what it has been the last few years. So get in the playoffs and see what happens is my approach going forward. And listen, I'm not mad at that either. Because honestly, I don't know what week it was, but I said this about, I'm going to estimate, maybe about 5 to 6 weeks ago. If this team can play complementary football, we've seen where this team can compete with anybody. The biggest problem right now is that leaking run defense. I believe Aaron Rodgers is going to continue to give you some points. But even with us not running the football well, we have to stop the run. Give me a game where we are holding teams under 80 yards rushing. I think we can play with almost anybody. We have enough heat on offense from our pass rush. James Pierre starting to play well. Brandon Echols should have gave him a big hat moment, man. I meant to bring that back tonight, but I didn't have my software together. Big hat moment to Brandon Echols. James Pierre playing decent. We got some components there. It just doesn't come into fruition. And that's why I put a lot of blame on players too, guys. It ain't just the coaches. It's player execution. Come on, man. But all right, man, this was an outstanding show. I didn't expect to go so long, man. But this is exactly why I like to start at 8 o'clock in case we run over. And phone calls, guys, I promise we're gonna work out a schedule. I'm gonna work out a schedule. I think I got a plan where I can try to get all of the calls, and it was so much easier, man, when I had Blog Talk. But we'll figure it out. But guys, that's all I got for y'all. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I appreciate all the Wonder Bread. Appreciate y'all hanging with me as I'm coughing with these allergies. And hopefully by the next time y'all hear from me, I won't have them. More than likely, you guys will hear from me on Monday night. Hopefully it's another win. If I get a chance, guys, I can't promise, but if I get a chance, I might try to come do a pregame show because I have a little bit of wiggle room this weekend. So hopefully I get a chance to do that because I do want to talk about what scares me a little bit about the Dolphins. And I know people are going to say, oh, it's a trap game. It ain't no trap game. You know why it ain't no trap game? Because who are we? Like, we the dope team. We fighting for our lives. We hanging on by a thread. We ain't no dominant team, so it ain't no trap game. The Dolphins could very well beat the Steelers. I'm just saying. But we'll talk about it. But all right, guys, catch y'all in the next one. Listen, if you haven't already, if you like what you saw here tonight, hit that like button. If you really love what you saw, hit that subscribe button. You might as well go ahead and be a part of the family. Outside of that, y'all know I'm going to wish y'all well like I do each and every time. I need you guys to stay safe, stay healthy. God bless. Good night. Like always, I thank each and every one of you all for tuning in. I shall catch you in the next one. Peace.